good enough.
Yeah, it's about making that pain real, and then saying, okay, now what do we do for this pain, right? When you don't know there is a pain, then you don't do anything about it.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of the point that this brings us round to is really, I'd be interested to just hear how you feel that organizations can kind of bring all this together. Because we've talked about getting upstream of the problem, you know, the kind of work planning stage, centralizing this in a total talent mentality, and the fact that SOW and services procurement is the biggest gap, you know, closing that gap, getting it under control, taking a holistic viewpoint, and moving towards this skills-based approach. Um, how do you think organizations can bring this all together and kind of make it happen?
Good question. I think we touched upon it. Like we see um, the holistic view of workforces coming together because contingent is moving towards HR in many organizations. So that's one step. The other step is how do you make this visible, and what's the pain that's coming in because it's staying invisible, right? You don't wait for a non-compliance case to emerge to know, okay, there is a pain. You don't wait to like go IPO and then figure out, hey, we have an unmet or rather unseen amount of spend that we're doing, which is not accounted for, or it's not put in a particular way that's it's needed, etc. So how do you bring those pain that can inflict an organization and all the value that can come in by addressing it up front and then driving it down is how I think is the best way to do it. I mean, there are other ways to do it too, right? Like many organizations are modular, like they may have one country running in a different way, or one part of the business running in a different way, because procurement is different, HRBP is different. So you could also say, okay, for this business unit, we're going to solve this problem. And then once it does, then, okay, can that become like a template that can be taken over by other organizations and so on? Yeah. So that's another way to look at it too.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you look at services procurement specifically, I think the way that technology is traditionally tried to be applied to it, if you take, for example, organizations that are trying to apply a VMS to look at services procurement, there's a few areas where I'd say that that has slowed the market down. Ultimately, a VMS is looking at contingent workers. That's what their heartland is. So they're all about individual, you know, hiring Johnny Dunning for X amount of days or whatever it might be. Whereas services procurement is engaging an external supplier to deliver an output or an outcome. Very different. So it's hard to apply worker-based and time-based technology to statement of work engagement. So I think that's one thing where the adoption that's slowed organizations down, if that's the only option, which is why organizations like Zivio exist to do it differently. But the other side of it is if you can only start with a very big program, and because contingent workforce is mature, the commercial models of those types of technology are designed around large programs. So you're not going to deploy it unless you're biting off a really big chunk, which stops a lot of people from ever getting started. So I think what you were saying about looking at whether there are parts of the organization that can try stuff out and
Yeah.
proof of concepts, you know, that's something that we see all the time.
Yeah.
Services procurement is complicated, services procurement is varied, the underlying architecture is similar. So you can apply it and say the fundamentals are the same, but the stuff that goes on top is going to vary department to department. So
Correct.
the ability to try stuff and move fast, that's where you get emerging technologies that are trying to do things differently to break things down. And I think that's what the services procurement industry needs. Break things down, get started, get moving, learn the lessons, apply the lessons, and move forward to the other parts of the business.
Absolutely.
Um, so I think
I
that's a
also,
really good point that you made there in the sense you know organizations can't just do this all at once.
yeah, impossible. And also on the services procurement side, you have category owners for different kind of services procurement as well. So that also makes it a little difficult because you've got to get everybody together. But can you look at category by category? And that's how I think some of the MSPs are looking at it, right? Like when they want to extend into SOW, maybe what's the closest to contingent talent which falls under services procurement, which can be taken over, like maybe facilities or maybe marketing operations or something like that, and then you build on from there on. Yeah.